So we're gonna edit a black and white photograph using Lightroom. Now I resetted the photograph because you don't want to convert a color photograph into black and white already that you've edited, because if I did a color dark, then it's gonna make that area completely dark. So the very first step to turn a color photograph to black and white is if you're to go to your color tab and hit BW. Now we're not done. So what we want to do is to mess with the exposure and the contrast and whatnot. Okay, so in this example, I would want to make this photograph maybe kind of give a little bit of a darker exposure. Always increase the contrast, never decrease, but increase the contrast. In this photograph, I will probably want to decrease the highlights, or that's entirely up to you. But in this case, let's just try to increase the highlights. Increase the shadows to make those shadowy areas. Increase the whites and decrease the blacks to make some of those areas just a bit darker, not so much. Let's go back to the curves and just kind of make a slight S shape. Okay, we're done with that section. Now in a black and white photograph, you can actually mix the colors in. So I'm going to start with the red, and I'm going to increase some of those reds. I'm going to increase a little bit of the oranges, and notice how things start to pop out a little bit more. So we want to show the darks and the lights. We're done with that. And we want to add some effects in the texture. So we're going to increase the texture, not decrease it, but we want to increase the texture. And we want to increase the clarity, not decrease it, but we want to increase the clarity. If you want to add a little bit of the haze, that's completely fine. The vignette, change it to the negative part so you can have that burnt edge on the burnt thing on the edges. The midpoint, how close to the center you wanted it to be. I'll take away some of the vignette. Feather, I always put at 100%, and how round you want this thing to be. So once we're done editing this photograph, I'm going to go to the square and the arrow, and I'm going to export to camera roll. And you're done.